Naruto had the others arrange into a formation. Sasuke and Sakura would guard Tazuna from the front while he would protect them from the rear. Sasuke had Rud, who had made him the leader. Naruto had coolly responded that if he had a better idea, then speak up. As Naruto suspected, Sasuke didn't exactly have a lot of bright ideas. With a glare hot enough to burn metal, he had growled at Naruto, "Just because I am doing tea mean you can order me around, dobe. You will tell me everything about your sensing ability." Naruto had sighed at that. It seemed Sasuke's inferiority complex was acting up, probably because of what happened with Zabuza and the demon brothers. Maybe pissed about seeing the Hunter Nin from before. Someone their age and already a part of the Hunter Nin program must set him off. They thankfully made it to Tazu without any more attacks. They all saw it, the lakeside house. They all waited on the porch as Tazuna went and knocked on the front door. After a minute, the door swung open and a slim PR rushed out and embraced Tazuna. Naruto raised an eyebrow at her, probably must be his daughter. "Tusan, I'm so glad you are safe." She spoke with obvious relief in her voice before she spotted the ninja behind him. She gave them a small bow. "I'm sorry, WH Manners? I'm Tsunami, please come in." "Is he hurt?" she asked, pointing towards the half-conscious Kakashi on the stretcher. Her eyes widened at the three identical. She was quick to recover. Naruto spoke up, "He's simply exhausted, Tsunami-san. Is there a room where we can put him?" She smiled and moved aside for them to come. Sasuke and Sakura shinobi sandals and went inside while Naruto first removed Kakashi's sandals and then removed his shoes, going inside. The small gesture of caring brought in UNS Kakashi's face. Tsunami answered, "I just need to put down a futon." "I'm sorry, but I didn't get your names." Sakura smiled, "Haruno Sakura, Tsunami-san." Tsunami smiled tightly at her. Something about the girl just unsettled her. Sasuke was much ruder, Uchiha Sasuke. He barely glanced at her, dismissing her as unimportant. Naruto threw him a dirty glare for that, which was wholeheart reciprocated. Naruto turned around and smiled, "I'm Uzumaki Naruto, Tsunami-san. Nice to meet you. When you are nice to others, they are nice to you." This was demonstrate returned his easy grin and replied, "Nice to meet you too, Naruto-kun. Follow me upstairs where you can lay your sensei down for rest." After the futon was laid down and Kakashi on it, Naruto just stared at the wall blankly, processing what happened to them so far. A hand on the shoulder snapped trance. He looked up to see Tsunami's face, full of concern. It was a bit strange, having someone look at him like that. It gave him a funny feeling in his stomach. "Are you okay, Naruto-kun?" Naruto took some time to respond, "I'm okay." Standing up and putting a small smile on his face, he turned to her and asked, "So, Tsunami-san, how about I help yo xxxxxxxx?" It took 2 days for Kakashi to regain consciousness. Naruto dutifully changed his bandages, helped Tsunami cook dinner and kept a watch on Kakashi while Sakura Sasuke, well, they really didn't do anything significant. Sasuke trained, Sakura did too, but not as much. She only did a little before sitting on a rock and watching hearts in eyes. What those two didn't know that 20 of Naruto's shadow clones, divided into 2 groups, were learning the 2 new jutsu Naruto brought with into the forest. Naruto was in Kakashi's room, drawing up ideas for new types of flash tags and explosive tags when he noticed Kakashi's breath hitch. Putting his sealing supplies, walked over and knelt down, removing the wet cloth from Kakashi's forehead. Something just in case Kakashi caught a fever. "Sensei," he whispered. He saw as Kakashi attempted to get up while keeping his eyes closed. He placed a firm hand on the man's shoulder. Pushing the man back would be unwise, considering it might set your recovery back. Kakashi opened his eyes with a pained groan, persisting even when the light seemed to burn through his eye. After finally opening his eye, he looked around and they had safely made it to Tazuna's home. He figured that his genin might have gotten pretty bored, especially Sasuke, if the occasional tremors indicating Sasuke's to burn off some steam. He looked to his side, seeing a mildly concerned Naruto looking down at him with his azure blues. He was reminded of another blonde who used to give him the SA, pushed that aside and smiled cheerily. "Oh hello, Naruto." A small smile came onto his face and he replied back, "About time you woke up. I'll alert the others." He stood up and walked over to the window and saw what he's seeing for the past 2 days. Sakura sitting on the ground and having hearts in her eyes and Sasuke blowing off trees. He decided to break their peace. "Hey Sakura, duck us." He ignored Kakashi's snort at the nickname. "Sensei is awake." With that he went back to Kakashi's side, not even checking if they w not. 2 minutes later, Sakura and Sasuke walked through the door, coming to stand in front of their sensei. Sakura sat down in a whirl of pink and red, exclaiming, "You are awake." Naruto quietly scoffed and looked to the side. She was saying it as if she was the one looking after him for the past 2 days, skipping her training. Quick to claim credit, isn't she? Kurama's voice spoke, faintly lined with disgust. Naruto mentally rose an eyebrow, "Quite a long nap you took." Then he shrugged, "Also, she's not taking credit. She's just useless. She just wants to be seen doing." "I'm actually glad Sensei keeps his Sharingan covered, otherwise he would hate to accidentally copy her uselessness," he commented, prompting a snort of laughter. Kakashi decided to find out what he'd missed. "So, what happened after I went down?" Sakura spoke before Naruto could. "Well, after you went down, we carried you to Tazuna-san's house. You've been out of 2 days, Kakashi-sensei. We've just been guarding the house." Naruto wanted to say that she has been only fangirling Sasuke, who was the only one who watched the house. He also wanted to say that he has been taking care whole time, but decided that it would look very petty on his part and opted to keep quiet. Also, what they didn't know wouldn't hurt them. He decided to speak up. "Sensei, we're gonna have to train to fight Zabuza again," he said with a serious look on his face. Sasuke turned to him, an eyebrow raised as if mocking him. "Zabuza died when that hunter Nin hit him with the Senbon. Or did you forget that, Dobe?" Sakura nodded in favor of Sasuke. "Does she even think for herself or does she just follow him?" he mused. Naruto shook his head. "I never forget, Sasuke. But you probably have forgotten what we read about Hunter Nin in the academy. They are supposed to destroy the spot, not take it away. Also, the Senbon hit a very specific spot, in the back of the neck." He trailed off, opting for Kakashi to continue. Sakura scoffed, "Please Naruto, Sensei checked and there was no pulse dash." "I'm afraid that Naruto is right, Sakura. It is very much possible that Zabuza is alive," Kak said. Sakura and Sasuke both had disbelieving expressions, letting Kakashi continue. "The back of the neck where the Senbon hit. I think that the Nin most likely put Za-like state, which is most likely why I couldn't find a pulse as it was so weak." He further explained, "The weapon that Nin used has a low fatality rate unless it hits a critical spot. The Nin took Zabuza with him, even though Zabuza was much him. Also, he used a weapon with low fatality rate. With these 2 points, we can conclude that the Nin wanted to help Zabuza." Tazuna looked skeptical. "Is it possible that you are overthinking this?" Kakashi's reply was swift, "No. Once a ninja feels that there's something out of place, they must prepare for it before it's too late." Naruto folded his arms across his chest. "So how long do you think we have, Kakashi-sensei?" Kakashi rubbed his chin in thought and said, "I'd say, about 1 week. He'll need that much time to come back to full strength from a death-like state." "That's well. Sakura gave him a look as if he was crazy. "Sensei, how are we supposed to train if you're to rest?" Kakashi I smiled. "Don't worry, my cute little students. I don't need much to train you. A crutch is all I need." Excuse me everyone, dinner is ready, a voice came from the door and all of them turned to look at Tsunami, who was wiping her hands of a towel. Kakashi I smiled and asked her, hello, you might be. Tsunami smiled, oh, so you've finally woken up. Naruto-kun took good care of you then. He looked at Naruto who had a faint blush on his cheeks and was looking still crossed. Kakashi resisted the urge to ruffle his hair, because the kid looked damned cute right now. Anyway, I'm Tsunami, Tazuna's daughter. Pleased to meet you, she bowed. Kakashi bowed as much as he could while sitting, pleased to meet you too, Tsunami. Tsunami turned to Naruto, please help your sensei down, Naruto-kun. And thank you for your shadow clone's help in the kitchen. Naruto waved his hand, they are an excellent kitchen crew for me too. Don't mention it. With that Sakura and Sasuke filed out of the room, not bothering to help. Naruto gave a disgusted shake of his head and stood up. Putting Kakashi's left arm over his shoulders, he helped him up, supporting his full weight like it was noth, arigato, Naruto. For taking care of me, Kakashi murmured, I smiling. It was quite weird for him. Only two cared for him like Naruto did in the last 2 days of both Naruto's parents. Naruto shook his head, smiling, you are my sensei. I didn't do it because it was my duty to take care of you like you do, I did it because Kakashi gazed at Naruto with a wide eye, who ignored it and slowly helped the man downstairs. Using what little strength he had, he pulled Naruto into a one arm initially stiffened, but relaxed after a few seconds. No words needed to be spoken. He helped Kakashi sit on the table and sat beside him, close in case he needed to feed him. But he hoped Kakashi had enough pride to not face fall during eating. T gesture caused Tsunami to smile, such a sweet boy. Kakashi couldn't stop the eye smile. He didn't show it, but he was glad there was someone like Naruto to care for him. Kami knows he has no one left close to him. Feeling made him want to do everything not to disappoint Naruto. Naruto gazed at the small boy who was sitting beside Tazuna. Somehow, he cast a somber atmosphere around him. Half of his face was hidden beneath his hat. Ta spoke up, Inari, greet these nice ninjas. They will make sure I'm safe while building my super bridge. Inari looked up and Naruto immediately understood why the boy felt so sad. He had that look in his eyes, he had lost someone very dear to him. But Gigi, they're all going to die, he cried out, as if he was stating a fact. Naruto suddenly understood the boy's position a whole lot better, so instead of being angry, he just felt a deep sense of empathy and sadness for such a young chi. Of course, Sasuke didn't take it too well. You don't know that, brat, his voice had a little bit of scorn added into it along with his usual rudeness. Naruto's head snapped to glare at him, Sasuke, he snapped. That was not how someone talks to a child. Particularly a child who has eyes like that. Sasuke returned the glare, but he did turn his eyes away after a few seconds. He didn't speak after that. Dinner went quietly after that, though Naruto got a bit embarrassed when Tsunami thanked him again for his help for cleaning the dishes. They set up their beds in rooms. Naruto and Sasuke would take the room with Kakashi while Sakura would share the room with Tsunami. As soon as he went into the bathroom and quickly rammed sign to dispel all the shadow clones. As the memories came into his mind, he sorted through them and clicked his tongue in annoyance. The two jutsu needed a lot of work. The futon jutsu was a bit too complicated, so it would require time. He had to first gather air in his lungs, which was the easy part. Was the shape manipulation. It was not easy to compress all of the air into an explosive ball of high density. He also had to be extremely cautious about it. If T exploded while inside him, game over. All of his clones practicing this jutsu were dispelled because of this, so Naruto had to discreetly create another batch and have the other clone's location. It was also taking him too long to do all of this. Well, I can personally work on it tomorrow, now that Kakashi-sensei is awake, he thought. The Suiton jutsu was not as hard as wind jutsu, just tricky. He already knew how to expel water from his mouth. But making that jet of water highly pressurized so through stones was no piece of cake. Still, his clones managed to make it sharp enough to put a deep scratch on the barks, but not cut through it. Better than not master these jutsu before we confront Zabuza again, he thought resolutely. He walked out of the bathroom and laid down on his bed, closing his eyes and trying to work out theories to master the two jutsus faster. He found himself laying B in their mindscape, and it looked like he wanted to talk. "You had quite a fight," he remarked, looking faintly amused. Naruto shot a blank look at him. "Just how long do you sleep in a single stretch anyway?" Kurama gave a graceful shrug as he settled his head on his hands, eyes gazing peacefully at the moon. "Depends. You handled your first actual fight quite," we commented. Naruto raised his eyebrows, unimpressed. "You were impressed with my fight with the demon brothers?" Kurama returned his own unimpressed stare. "I don't mean those weaklings. I meant Zabuza. You kept your mind calm, analyzed the situation, figured to escape and a way to attack your enemy. Nice touch with the Hiration, by the way. Gives you a way to track him now," he said, grinning at the end. Naruto smiled. "Thanks, it means a lot to me." Kurama sat up a little. "I saw that you had some trouble with the two new jutsus." Naruto gave a grunt. The fox glanced at him. "If you want, I can give you advice on how to master them quickly." He got the desired response as Naruto sat up, curiosity almost eyes. "Really? Thank you so much, Kurama," he smiled, his big blues shining a bit. Kurama made a disgusted face. "Keep your sappiness to yourself, you brat." Naruto laughed. "Sorry, couldn't resist it." He didn't look sorry at all. After he was finished laughing, he gave Kurama his full attention. Kurama began his explanation. "Your futon jutsu is only a bit tough, if you look at closely. You are simply overthinking it. What you should do is whe the air inside you, gather it in a way that it is spinning and compressed. That way you can control its explosive effect and power. It should be fast, catch someone off guard, so build up a lot of pressure simultaneously when you create the air ball by creating a bit of vacuum. Use that pressure T explosive speed to the ball." Naruto nodded, having made sense of the entire explanation. He would try that tomorrow, and hopefully prevent a Sasuke tantrum. If he saw what Naruto was would throw a fit. Kurama continued, "Your Suiton jutsu isn't hard as you think. Think of it this way, if you have a pipeline with water blowing out of it onto a wall, you get a wet wall. But if that pipeline's opening was made a whole lot smaller." He left it to Naruto to finish his line of thinking, and he wasn't disappointed. Then the pressure would be considerably high if the speed were to be kept the same. Pressure would make the water sharp enough to cut through rocks. "You are brilliant, Kurama," he exclaimed with wide eyes. Kurama looked considerably smug. "Of course I am. The jutsus of you humans are laughably easy to us demons. There are only a few of them we can." Naruto shook his head, smiling softly. Kurama was entirely too proud of himself, but Naruto bit his lip, not wanting to offend the demon by pointing out that he got total of 3 times. "Alright Kurama, thanks for your tips. I'll master them in no time." He flashed a monstrous grin, which was returned by the demon in front of him. With that, he finally entered REM sleep. XXXXXXX. Naruto's eyes opened at his regular time of 5, but he stayed in bed, thinking things over. He suspected that Kakashi might know about his use of Hiration against hadn't exactly hidden himself with smoke bombs, after all. And Zabuza might have been surprised by his trick, but Kakashi had already seen it in the bell test. Eve Kawarimi, but this time Kakashi had seen it with his own eyes. With him watching with the Sharingan, there was no way he would dismiss it as a simple red plasm, and he sighed heavily. He was not looking forward to the talk. There was so much to explain. Realizing his thoughts were leading him into nothing but distress, he got up, hoping to get some morning air. Keeping his steps quiet so as to not disturb Kakashi, dressed up and headed outside, hoping to put Kurama's theories to test. He got outside, getting some relief from the slight chill of the morning air. He allowed his senses to spread and a tiny frown made its way onto his face when he saw making their way from behind him. Noiseless steps, probably hoping to catch him off guard. "I didn't know you were awake, Kakashi-sensei." "Well, I wasn't until I heard you move out." He came up beside him, I scrunched up in a smile. Naruto returned a small smile. The two of them sat in silence for a while, lost in their own thoughts. Kakashi finally broke the silence with a question. "What jutsu was that on the bridge, Naruto?" Even though he had prepared for that question to be asked, Naruto was still caught off guard. Kakashi noticed the minute flinch that Naruto couldn't hide, a slightly fearful glint in his eyes. Realizing he had probably scared the boy, he backtracked. "I was just curious, Naruto. It was something like what you tried in the bell test." He trailed off, silently asking Naruto to elaborate. Naruto hated when Kakashi got like this, demanding answers from him. And the worst thing was that Naruto had no reason to hide anything from him. Stealing him into Kakashi's single eye. "Before I say anything, Kakashi-sensei, can you promise me that you will keep this to yourself and only yourself?" If Kakashi looked surprised by his request, he didn't show it. He wondered just what Naruto was hiding that was so important as to not tell his team members. He requesting total secrecy, but Kakashi drew the line there. He narrowed his eye. "If Hokage-sama asks me, then it's my duty to tell him, Naruto." Naruto relaxed a bit at that. The old man already knows of this. Kakashi too, relaxed at that. Keeping secrets from his leader, then having the said leader interrogate you was not fun at all. "So, you will show me?" The slight hop made Naruto smile, if only a little. Naruto gestured to his hand, where his sleeve was folded, exposing his wrist before the metal-plated gloves. Kakashi shrugged, offering his wrist, "Sure." Naruto wrapped his hand around Kakashi's wrist for a moment, then let go, turning back to watch the sunrise. Kakashi examined his wrist curiously, wanting to find Naruto did. His eyes widened and he almost choked on his spit upon seeing a seal formula that looked remarkably similar to what his sensei used. His neck snapped towards N, looking back at him with a smirk. Is this?" "Yup. Sure is," Naruto claimed proudly. "But unlike his, the flash is blue. Since my chakra is a deep blue, you know." Kakashi tried to recover from the surprise that Naruto had figured out the technique that made the Yondaime the most feared shinobi across all lands. Trying to keep steady, he asked, "Can you demonstrate?" Naruto frowned but nodded. He flash-stepped to a tree about 100 meters away, missing Kakashi's look of surprise at the use. Without wasting any time, he F'd Kakashi, the Jonin's neck turning so fast Naruto sworn he heard it crack. Kakashi's mind was blown out of proportions when he saw the blue flash of Naruto's Hiraishin. The fact that Naruto had mastered one of the most complex techniques seen, hell, even his sensei had ever seen was nothing short of stupefying. He recovered and looked at Naruto, who was watching him carefully. "I can see why you want to keep this a secret. Sasuke would throw a fit if he saw you using something that," Kakashi admitted. He could already imagine the SC. Naruto hummed, not at all bothered. "He will keep it a secret until the Chunin exams, and if Sasuke finds out before that, it's not like he could do anything. Sasuke ko the tantrum he wants, he would never be able to learn the Flying Thunder God, ever. It's not like Sasuke can do anything." The amount of understanding of Fuinjutsu, chakra theory along with the dimension of space-time was just unreal. He won't be beyond just level 7 Fuinjutsu. Also, space-time is a very rarely studied branch of ninjutsu and Fuinjutsu. I very much doubt the Uchiha library has any research mat that. I was lucky my father had done his research so thoroughly, he shrugged. Kakashi nodded. He would hate to see, even though it was inherently and incredibly selfish of him, his sensei's legacy fall into someone else's hands other than his. He got up, using the crutches Tazuna was able to find him last night. Come on, let's get some breakfast. They arrived inside to find Sasuke and Sakura already at the table, surprise in their eyes when they saw Naruto and Kakashi entering together. Sasuke narrowed his suspicion, but thankfully kept silent. Tsunami was mildly surprised. I was just coming to see if you two were out there, Kakashi-san, Naruto-kun. Kakashi smiled. We were just enjoying the morning air outside, Tsunami-san. It's quite peaceful. Tsunami smiled and gestured to the table. Please sit, breakfast is ready. After everyone's breakfast was over, Kakashi took his squad outside, into the forest to train. Okay, training will begin now. You will learn chakra control exercises so you don't waste chakra in excess while performing jutsus. This exercise is one of the basics, master it, no matter what. He observed their reactions closely. Sasuke had a predictably disappointed expression on his face. He was hoping that Kakashi would teach them powerful jutsus, but he conceded the fact that by important to master. There was, undeniably, a small amount of curiosity on his face. Sakura was also curious, but she was more confused than she was disappointed. She didn't exactly know what Kakashi-sensei was trying to teach here, so she just explained. Naruto, well, he looked supremely bored of Kakashi. The one-eyed Cyclops found his right eye twitching at the distinctly unimpressed look Naruto was giving him. Looking faintly amused at the looks Naruto was sending to Kakashi. You're going to teach us tree walking, aren't you? The deadpan in his voice was unmistakable. Kakashi's sweat dropped. This could be trouble. Naruto already knows how to walk on vertical surfaces. I could get him started on water walking, but then Sasuke might get the impression that I am favoring Naruto, he thought as he tried to figure a way out. But Naruto and Sasuke were starting to get impatient. Naruto spoke up, I already know tree walking, sensei. This revelation caused Sakura and Sasuke to stare at confusion and the other with a twinge of jealousy. Kakashi mentally sighed, no use hiding now. And before you ask, I know water walking as well. Remember where I was standing after pushing Zabuza back? Kakashi's memory was jolted as he suddenly remembered jumping in between Naruto, who had his kunai out-coated in wind chakra, and Zabuza, who was just from beheading his student. Naruto was standing on water. Is he deliberately making this worse for me? Kakashi thought. Sasuke walked up to Naruto with a scowl on his face. When did you learn all this? Naruto raised an eyebrow at him. What will you do if I tell you? Fortunately for Naruto, Sasuke didn't have an answer for this question and with a deeper scowl than before, walked back to his place. Kakashi, to avoid any further trouble, immediately explained the exercise. What you have to do, he said while walking up to a tree, is to direct your chakra to th feet. He put onto the bark, and stick to the surface. He was now walking perpendicular to the ground until he turned onto a branch and looked up, or down. Sakura looked up at him with awe in her eyes, while looked at him with narrowed eyes. Probably thinking about how this will make him stronger, Naruto mused. Kakashi threw 2 kunai in front of Sasuke and Sakura, get to it, then. As Sakura and Sasuke picked up the kunai and walked away to a tree, Kakashi slowly while Naruto, who was simply looking at him. What do you plan on doing? Naruto said, I'm currently working on 2 jutsus that I took from the shinobi library. I'm planning on mastering them before tomorrow night. Kakashi rose an eyebrow, nobody can master 2 elemental jutsu in span of a day, you know. Naruto shrugged, this nobody that you speak of, can't use shadow clones like I can, sensei. Kakashi's visible eye widened, you know the secret of Kage Bunshin? Naruto smirked, figured it out a long time ago, sensei. Now if you don't mind, I'll be training. Try to keep Sasuke away from me if you can. With that, he flash ste leaving a gaping Kakashi. XXXXXXX Naruto found out that Kurama had hit bullseye on the analysis of both the jutsus. He created 40 clones, dividing them into 2 groups to practice while he tested of last night himself. He was able to reduce the time required to form the compressed, explosive ball of air, but it took the clones the better part of 4 hours to reduce the time required high pressure inside him to launch the ball off at high speeds. At the end of 5 hours, he was panting, sweating flowing down like waterfall on his naked upper body. All his clones were dispelled, including the ones practicing tea just to return him the chakra needed for one last try at the jutsu, before he fell to chakra exhaustion. Naruto had his hands on his knees, trying to get his breathing to get normal. Once he had, he wasted no more time in thinking. Speeding through the hand seals, shouted, "Futon, Kaze Jirai no Jutsu." He expelled a compressed ball of air from his mouth at great force at a tree. His satisfaction knew no bounds when the ball exploded on the bark, blowing away it and making the tree fall. He chuckled tiredly, falling on his back. Man! These elemental jutsu sure are tiring. Hey Kurama, would you mind replenishing my reserves just enough so I can rather not eat the soldier pill I have? Kurama's chakra rushed into his system, though not so much that he went into a rage or was full of energy again. He groaned as he sat up, putting on his t-shirt and walked back to the house, thoughts of tasty food filling his mind. He walked across a clearing when he heard the sound of bark exploding. Curious, he walked towards it and had to suppress the chuckles in him. Sasuke was tree climbing, and falling off. Naruto could see with the many slashes on the bark that showed Sasuke had improved much in just one day, but he was the top. Naruto would have moved away if it wasn't for Sasuke discovering him and calling out, "Naruto? Is that you?" Naruto turned around, "Yep." Awkward silence descended upon them as Naruto waited for Sasuke to speak while Sasuke did not know what to speak. Naruto, tired of the silence, made to walk as Sasuke called him out. And dare he think that he was, hesitating and nervous? Well. Naruto raised an eyebrow, it's rare for him to come to talk to me. Especially that he's hesitating. Sasuke glanced away, a faint blush on his cheeks and voice hesitating, "You said you have mastered this exercise before, right? See, can you give any tips?" Naruto was inwardly laughing with Kurama at how awkward Sasuke looked while asking him. As much as I hate to say this, he looks more normal in his usual, aro on the outside. He smiled and walked to Sasuke, putting a hand on his shoulder. Sasuke looked surprised by this, even when he heard Naruto speak, "Yo lot of trouble for yourself if you just asked instead of demanding." Amusingly, the faint blush on his face was instantly replaced by his regular scowl. Naruto spoke up before Sasuke, "But I will help you. Out of the goodness of my heart," he added sarcastically. Sasuke reminded himself to calm down, otherwise he wouldn't be able to master this exercise. Hell, even Sakura mastered it before him. He was never in this posy last, ever. Naruto spoke, holding up a finger, "First, chakra uses your spiritual energy, so don't be tense or angry. Basically, don't allow your emotions to reach an extreme. Relax and concentrate on your energy, and collect a constant amount of chakra at the bottom of your feet. That's all I will tell you." Sasuke nodded, and for the first time in his life, he thanked someone other than his family. Thank you." Naruto simply smiled and turned around, "Though you should save it for tomorrow. Dinner is ready, and it's no use training on an empty stomach." Sasuke looked like he wanted to train more, but ultimately agreed on dinner and they walked away. Dinner was a quiet affair. After eating, Naruto helped Tsunami wash the dishes as the others relaxed. Sakura was inspecting a picture on the wall, which had a peak. When she inquired about it and how Inari was gazing at it, Tazuna replied that the person whose face was torn off was the hero of this town. The atmosphere in very somber, Naruto noted. Inari had walked off after that, his mother going after him to console him. Tazuna told them the story of Inari's stepfather, how he was considered a hero by every Ogato killed him. Inari had begun to rely on the man to the point where he wouldn't stand up for himself. Gato had him killed to destroy any form of hop in the land, traumatizing Inari in the process. Naruto digested this, and slowly got up from his seat. He had enough of this depressing atmosphere. Sakura spoke up, "Where are you going, Naruto?" Naruto didn't turn back as he answered, "I've got some unfinished training to do." That was all he said before the door was gently shut. Sakura turned towards Kakashi, "What's up with him?" Kakashi shrugged. The mysterious Nin had taken Zabuza to a small house far away and took him inside, placing him onto a bed. "I will have to remove the bandages so he can freely cough up the blood, if he has any to cough," he mused, his hand reaching to pull down the bandages. A rough reached out and grabbed his wrist. "I can do that myself, Haku." Zabuza opened his eyes, which were quite bloodshot. He sat up, painfully groaning. He reached behind him to take out the sunbon in his neck, small squirts of blue. He pulled them roughly. "Please don't pull them out like that, Zabuza-sama, or you will really die," Haku commented with a light voice, which failed to convey his seriousness. Zabuza grunted as he laid on his back. "You're as vicious as ever, Haku." Haku watched his master lay on the ground. After a few minutes of silence, he spoke up, "How will we face them next time, Zabuza-sama?" Zabuza got a murderous look in his eyes. "Next time," he growled out, more to himself than Haku, "I'm taking away that Sharingan from that damned monkey." Zabuza was resting on a cot with a blanket over him. He did not like the fact that he had lost to Kakashi. That damn Sharingan. He hated its abilities, copying off the hard work and dedication he had put into learning his jutsu in a simple blink. His fists clenched in anger, he could not wait to tear that eyeball out and stomp on it. Moments later, a short man dressed in a business suit and two samurais as bodyguards entered the room and went over to where Zabuza was. "So the terrifying demon of the mist is crippled after facing a few kids and a ninja. I don't think I'm getting my money's worth when it comes to paying you, Zabuza. Perhaps I should just kill you and spare myself the pain of losing any more money," the short man sneered at the bed-resting Nin. Gato walked over to Zabuza and reached out to strangle him when a figure appeared out of nowhere and grabbed his wrist, before ruthlessly twisting it. "You will not harm Zabuza-sama." "I won't allow it," came the hard voice of Haku. He twisted Gato's wrist further to just before the point of breaking it to drive his point home. Gato shrieked in pain and fell to his knees. "Hands off our boss." One of the samurai took a step forward when Haku grabbed a kunai and threw it at them. The samurai dodged it as it got buried in the wall behind them. Seeing them distracted, she pulled out two of her sunbon and threw it precisely at a point in both of their arms that it was rendered immobile. The temperature in the room dropped a few degrees as Haku whispered with deadly intent, "I missed your vital points on purpose, so don't test me." Gato snarled as he got up to his feet after Haku released him, "Insolent brat. You and Zabuza had better finish the job I gave you, or there will be consequences." With that, he exited the house, followed by his bodyguards whose arms were still immobile. "You know, you didn't have to do that for me. I could have taken care of it myself if it came to that," Zabuza commented as he fingered the kunai in his hands under the bedsheet. "I was aware of that, Zabuza-sama. But as your tool, I will always protect my master in any circumstance," Haku said with a smile. Zabuza sighed, "In any case, I will be back to full strength in 3 more days. And when I am," his voice turned murderous, "Kakashi will die. XXXXXXX. After getting outside, he walked to the spot he was training in since morning. "There's something I don't get. His father was killed, and while that is obviously the cause of grief, why hasn't Inari moved on?" Naruto asked Kurama as he neared the training spot. Kurama bluntly pointed it out, not everyone moves as fast as you do, Naruto. While you quickly moved on from a weakling to making yourself stronger, you are one of the few who can do it that way. Majority of the people are afraid to let go of the grief, afraid that they will lose the connection that binds them to the person who they held close. Naruto took his time understanding what Kurama told him. He knew that whenever a person lost one of their close ones, they tended to hold on to that feeling for a long time. But it never worked in Naruto's favor, holding on to despair. Instead, he made a choice on what to do about it. Every time when he fell down and had difficulty in finding a reason to get up, he would forcefully shake himself out of that state and willed himself to get up. Simply because he had no reason to stay down either. The purpose of life is to keep moving, and staying down in one spot defied that very purpose. Reaching the spot, he took a deep breath. With Kurama's help and dinner, Naruto had replenished a little less than 2/3 of his reserves. He was thankful for the fact that every time he spent chakra and replenished it, his reserves would grow, just by a little. At one instance, it won't even be noticeable. But in the long run, it would be beneficial. He made a half ram and 40 clones appeared, smokeless and soundless. The clones divided themselves into 2 groups of 20 as before and awaited their orders. Naruto thought for a minute and spoke up, 20 of you will work on the futon jutsu we learned today. However, I don't consider it mastered until I've managed to perform it perfectly with just one hand seal, considering how strong my affinity is. TH group on the right nodded and Flash stepped away to a new location. Naruto turned to the remaining group, I will be working with you all. We will work on perfecting the Suetun Jutsu this night. After perfecting it, we will work on mastering it like the Futon Jutsu, with one hand seal. Hi, came the chorus of the group. And so they began their training until all the clones dissipated and Naruto fell unconscious. XXXXXXX. Haku wore a pink kimono with red cherry blossoms and wooden sandals. He was carrying a basket and slightly humming to himself. While boys of his age would cringe at his choice of clothes, Haku had no such problem. In fact, he wore them just so he could witness the absolute shock on people's face when they figured out he was a boy and not a girl. It was amusing, no, scratch that, it was always downright hilarious. After an hour of walking, he came upon what he was searching for. Kneeling down, he began to pick herbs. His basket was almost half full when he felt something off. Getting up and turning around, he watched the scene with mild amusement and curiosity. 20 feet away, he saw the boy his master had fought 3 days ago. Naruto, his mind supplied helpfully. From what he had seen in the fight, he was very skilled, both in body and mind. He knew how to perform elemental jutsu, which his master had told him that no genin is capable of. His use of them, incorporating them into his tactics, such as when he beat Zabuza's clone. Granted, that clone only held 1/10 of the original's power, the feat was nothing short of impressive. And he had come up with a strategy to free his sensei, on the fly, and had to land 2 hits on Zabuza. This boy was extremely dangerous. The boy was laying down, limbs spread away from the body. He was not even aware of the birds that had taken perch on him. Haku had an internal debate. He could either quietly collect his herbs now and leave, or he could kill him and save some trouble later on. He stretched his arm towards Naruto's throat, silently deciding to kill him now and swiftly, to spare him the pain. I would advise against that. Haku jumped back in surprise and watched as Naruto instantly opened his eyes, as if he was not asleep at all. But his slightly puffy eyelids gave it away that the boy had been asleep, but woke up due to feeling his presence. Naruto took a few moments to shake off the drowsiness from his eyes before turning to address the girl. Jolting me awake hasn't been pleasant for anyone who has done that. Haku watched as he kipped up to his feet before working out all kinks in his joints, all the while, completely ignoring his presence. Naruto worked out the stiffness in his body while simultaneously going over the results of last night's training. The group of clones practicing the futon jutsu were able to reduce the number of hand seals to one and execute it perfectly. Well, that's one good thing, he thought. He and the group of clones practicing the water jutsu had also perfected it. Naruto could now use Suiton, Suidanya, water style, water severing wave, perfectly with all 5 hand seals. In addition to that, he also had the Nidame's notes on that jutsu to help him shorten it to just 1 hand seal. He finally turned to face the girl, who he found was quite pretty. So, what are you doing here? His question snapped Haku out of his trance and he bent down to make it appear he was picking herbs. I'm picking herbs for a friend. He's quite ill, you see. Haku sincerely hoped his voice did not waver. Naruto, to his credit, only rose an eyebrow. Then you might want to avoid that herb. I've read it's quite poisonous, he said, nodding towards the ground. Haku looked down and an embarrassed blush came over his face. He was going to pick a herb that was more suited to make poison than antidote. To cover up his embarrassment, Haku decided to introduce himself. By the way, I'm Haku. Naruto extended his hand, Uzumaki Naruto. Nice to meet you, Haku-chan. Haku inwardly laughed as he imagined Naruto's face when he revealed he was a boy. For now though, nice to meet you too. Naruto gestured to her basket, can I help you in collecting those herbs? Naruto and Haku collected herbs to fill Haku's basket. Why are you collecting the herbs so early in the morning, Ne-chan? Haku replied with a question of his own, what are you doing here so early in the morning? Naruto internally narrowed his eyes at the attempt to avoid the answer, but answered nonetheless, I was training in the night. Guess I fell unconscious due to exhaustion. Haku asked, so, you are a ninja? Naruto nodded with a smile. Haku gave a small worried frown, but isn't that dangerous? What if you get killed? Naruto shrugged, I may. It comes with the territory. If I die, that means I was meant to, so running away from my death would be futile. If I was meant to die so soon, I would have been killed many times over already. Haku gave a small sound of understanding, I see. And why are you training? Aren't you strong enough? Naruto shook his head, I may be strong, but there's always room for improvement. Besides, becoming stronger means I will be closer to becoming Hokage, he ended with a grin. Haku stared at him for a few moments, then spoke, you train because you want to be strong enough to protect your precious people, don't you? Naruto gazed at Haku with something akin to respect in his eyes. His azures stared into her light brown as he whispered, go on. Haku knew from the moment he gazed into Naruto's eyes that Naruto fully knew what he was talking about. Nonetheless, he spoke, I believe that you have precious people and you are working hard to grow stronger to protect them. If you have something to protect, only then you can be truly strong. Naruto kept his intense gaze on Haku, who returned it without flinching. After a long moment, Naruto smiled and said, never have I met anyone before except my Jiji who shares my understanding of fighting to protect. You have the most accurate idea of where strength comes from, Haku-chan. You have my respect for that. Haku smiled and stood up from where he was sitting and picked up his basket. You will become strong, he stated to Naruto before walking away. Time to reveal his secret. Oh, and by the way, I'm a boy, he said, turning to flash a smile at Naruto. He almost lost it when Naruto's eyes bulged to the point Haku feared they would fall out of his eye sockets. Naruto couldn't believe it. He thought he was talking to a girl, a very pretty one at that. Hell, even prettier than Hinata. Finally regaining his composure, he narrowed his eyes at Haku, who was barely restraining his laughter. I bet you do that to everyone just to see their reactions, don't you? Haku shook his head, no comment. That was an answer in itself, Naruto thought as he watched Haku walk away. As he walked away, Naruto allowed his thought process to take over. Haku was obviously not a normal civilian. When Naruto opened his eyes, it was quick, but Naruto had managed to note that Haku had almost taken a fighting stance. The reaction was performed on instinct, which left no doubt that Haku was a fighter, and an experienced one at that. Second thing, Haku's chakra felt strange to him. While he was still refining his sensing abilities to the point where he could sense people's affinities, he sensed the bare minimum. Haku's chakra definitely had water, and something which was rough and sharp at the same time. The closest thing to that description is the wind, he deduced. But what did those two add up to? Multiple affinities usually point towards the presence of a bloodline limit. Before he could continue his thought processes, he sensed Sasuke coming to him. Putting on a smile, he greeted his teammate, "Good morning, Sasuke." Sasuke grunted in response before saying, "You missed breakfast, Naruto." Naruto blinked in response, then shook his head. He would go back to see if any breakfast was left. He always went crazy on an empty stomach. He walked past Sasuke, who was warming up with some stretches. Naruto had no doubt the boy was going to put his tips to test while climbing the tree. Reaching the house, he went inside and found Tsunami washing the plates from breakfast. Hesitating a bit, he called out, "Tsunami-san?" The woman turned and smiled upon seeing Naruto, "Naruto-kun. You're back." Her smile turned into a concerned frown, "Are you all right? You were training all night. What if you had caught a cold?" Naruto shook his head, amused at the notion. He had never been ill in his life, courtesy of having the Kyuubi residing in him. "I don't catch a cold, Tsunami-san. I was wondering if you had any leftovers from breakfast?" Tsunami's face instantly brightened, "Oh right. I do have some leftovers I saved in case you came for breakfast." It explains why it seemed Sasuke-kun ate only a little. The last part was said in a mutter, but Naruto's sensitive ears easily heard it. "What was that about Sasuke, Tsunami-san?" he inquired ever so politely. Tsunami explained, "Sasuke-kun seemed to eat only a little of the breakfast. When I asked him he said that you would probably be late for it, so he was saving it for you." Naruto blinked twice at that. That was probably the kindest thing Sasuke had ever done for him. Then again, I gave him the tips to master tree walking. He must have saved breakfast just to get even, Naruto thought, knowing extremely well that Sasuke hated to be indebted to anyone. Now usually, saving breakfast for someone was not that big of a deal, but since it was coming from Sasuke, Naruto would call it even. Sitting down at the table, he swiftly ate everything that Tsunami laid out for him. While not nearly enough to get him full, it was more than enough for him to call it a satisfactory meal. He finished his meal and washed his plate, easily ignoring Tsunami's protests. Stretching his senses, he found that Kakashi and Sakura were upstairs. He had already seen Tazuna in the room next to the dining room, so he thought that Kakashi was probably going to have Sakura guard him today. "Well, that won't do," he scowled as he headed upstairs. He opened the room where he sensed Kakashi's chakra and saw that they were both ready to head out. They both blinked when they saw him. "Naruto? You're back?" Sakura dumbly asked. Naruto scowled deeper, "Very astute observation, Sakura," he commented, sarcastically, "Of course." Sakura blushed a little at being embarrassed by him. Naruto turned towards Kakashi, who was looking vaguely amused. "Kakashi-sensei, can I guard Tazuna-asan today?" Kakashi rose an eyebrow at the new suffix, but did not say anything. Thinking over, he thought that having Naruto guard Tazuna was an excellent choice. Naruto was the strongest of his genin, and was easily able to hold himself against Zabuza long enough to escape. He didn't need to worry about him for another 3 days, unaware that the man would recover in just one more day. Also, Naruto had an excellent way of retreating should the situation get worse. He answered, "I don't see why not. Have you completed the training that you were doing last night?" Naruto nodded. Kakashi nodded in approval, before turning to Sakura, "Sakura, you are with me in Sasuke today." Naruto, you will guard Tazuna today. However, he paused and frowned as an uneasy feeling settled in his stomach. He didn't know why, but he trusted his gut feelings. You will return 2 hours early today. I have a feeling we will be facing Zabuza much sooner than 3 days later. Naruto frowned but nodded. He would keep lookout for any trouble while Tazuna worked. His danger sense would come in extremely handy in that field. Don't forget about your training, Kurama reminded him sternly. Naruto nodded absently as he changed his clothes into an identical set and restocked his hip pouches from his sealing scroll. After double-checking that he was ready, he quickly exited through the window and briskly walked to the front where he found Tazuna waiting. Tazuna looked surprised at his presence. You will guard me today, Naruto? When Naruto smiled and nodded, Tazuna chuckled. Well, it looks like I have nothing to be afraid of. Now, let's go already. I'm late. Naruto held up a hand. Wait a minute, Tazuna-san. I'll back in a moment. With that, he flash-stepped away at his highest speed to last night's training spot. Wasting no time, he created 90 shadow clones. The whole clearing was full of them in mere moments. 30 of you will work on mastering the Suiton Jutsu we perfected last night. The rest of you, divide yourself into groups of 30 each and practice on learning and perfecting the 2 Suiton Jutsu I copied from Kakashi in the fight against Zabuza, he commanded his clones. All of them nodded as one and divided themselves, but Naruto was already gone. Appearing beside Tazuna so fast that the man yelped in surprise. Naruto spoke as if he had not noticed. I have a solution for your late problem, Asen. Not waiting to hear any protests, Naruto picked Tazuna up in a fireman's carry and flash-stepped away, the man's cries echoing into the distance. Appearing on the bridge in just 10 minutes, Naruto set Tazuna down, who looked a little green. Next time, give me a warning before you do that. Naruto blinked innocently at that, causing Tazuna's eyebrow to violently twitch. But he sighed and walked away to start today's work, grumbling about brats who are way too fast. Naruto only smiled and sat down, intent on working on his sensing abilities. This way he could train and keep a lookout for danger as well. While he stretched his senses as far as he could, he reflected on what he saw on the way to the bridge. The town was barely alive, with all its people caught in the jaws of poverty. It was not a sight he wanted to see again. Children begging on the streets, even fighting among themselves for food. Naruto kept his senses active the whole time, trying and partially succeeding to make it second nature to him, something that would keep running in the background by itself while he focused on the more important tasks. Overall, it was an uneventful day, for which Naruto was thankful for. His clones had disappeared sometime in the afternoon, with good news. Suiton, Suidanyo was now considered mastered, as Naruto's clones were able to reduce the number of hand seals to 1. Suiton, Daibakufu no Jutsu, Water Style, Giant Vortex Jutsu, was surprisingly easy to learn and perfect, considering it was a high A-rank jutsu. It helped that it had only 18 hand seals. He would work on mastering it when he returned to Konoha, when there was no threat. Suiton, Suryuden no Jutsu, Water Style, Water Dragon Jutsu, was something he'll work on later. That jutsu was incredibly complex, consisting of 44 hand seals and requiring an extreme amount of chakra. While chakra amount was not a problem for him, he wanted to be cautious while using it so he did not waste a single drop of chakra while executing it. He took Tazuna home, via flash step. They were just 5 minutes early of the assigned time Kakashi had given them. Going inside, he found Tsunami preparing dinner. "Hello, Tsunami-san." The said woman turned, surprise in her eyes. "To-san, Naruto-kun, you are quite early today." Naruto shrugged, Kakashi-sensei's orders. "Anyway, can you please tell me how long before dinner is ready?" Tsunami smiled, "It will be ready in 20 minutes, Naruto-kun." Naruto nodded and walked outside, deciding to have a little fun. Walking over to where Sasuke was, he was not surprised to note the boy was easily sticking to the bark of a tree. Time for some torture, an unholy glint entered his eyes. Sasuke! He called out. Seeing the boy look at him, he motioned him to come to him, which he did. How about some training? Moments later, Sasuke was standing on the side of a tree, a scowl on his face. What kind of training is this, Dobe? Naruto made a half-ram sign, causing 5 shadow clones to appear, as well as causing Sasuke's scowl to become deeper. He greatly envied Naruto's ability to make shadow clones, and that too in no small quantity. He hated to admit it, but Naruto could spam more clones than he could make regular ones, the ones that are an illusion. He had demanded Naruto once to tell him the secret to shadow clones. Naruto had scoffed at him and bluntly told him that he had no intention of doing that. Besides, shadow clones require a lot of chakra, something Sasuke didn't have to spare. He may not have his Sharingan, but once he had it, he had every intention to copy Naruto's jutsus. But the problem was, for a Sharingan to successfully copy a jutsu, all the hand seals must be performed. Sasuke had noticed that almost all of the jutsus he had seen Naruto executing, they were done with only 1 or 2 hand seals. The shadow clone jutsu was done only with a half-ram, which meant Sasuke could not copy any of them. He was not an idiot. Sasuke knew that jutsus have multiple hand signs, which indicated Naruto was highly proficient in performing them with only 1 or 2. Quelling his frustration, he focused on what Naruto was saying. He had a very innocent look on his face, something that did not bode well. The rules of this training are very simple. You have to remain stuck to the tree and not fall on the ground, Naruto said, choosing his words carefully. There was a loophole in what he said, but he was curious if Sasuke could read in between the lines. Sasuke scoffed, "Is that all? Then this will be easy." However, he was suddenly forced to dodge the shuriken that almost cut him. He was given no time to recover as a hail of shuriken came towards him, forcing him to dodge like his life depended on it. Naruto grinned savagely as his shadow clones gave Sasuke no time to rest. He saw Sasuke almost fall onto the ground, but he barely recovered in time. Deciding to give the guy some inspiration, he called out, "I don't see how this is easy for you, Sasuke. You are barely clinging onto the tree. And you've got 3 cuts, which means you are dead 3 times over." Absently creating 5 more to replace those whose shuriken were finished, he added salt to the injury. "When I mastered tree walking, I could dodge them with my eyes closed." That did it for Sasuke. He was already sour about the fact that he was the last one to master tree walking. But he had to admit, this training was good, excellent even. Naruto was forcing his body to make the tree walking almost second nature, so he could concentrate on the more important tasks. But he did not need to taunt him like that. He growled and concentrated on sticking to the tree first, then worrying about the shuriken. But Naruto gave him no time, forcing him to act on instinct. Naruto continued this for 15 more minutes, and by the end of that, Sasuke was a sweaty mess, lying flat on the back on the ground. He didn't even have the energy to glare at Naruto, who was looking entirely amused with him. "You, son of a," he wheezed out. Naruto shook his finger at him as if reprimanding a child. Now, watch your language. There are children around here." That bastard. He was having too much fun at his expense. Abruptly turning around, he said, "Dinner's ready. Let's go." He started walking, not waiting for Sasuke. Dinner was uneventful, the only thing amusing was watching Sasuke eat. The boy had attacked the food with the speed of a snail, he didn't have energy to even eat. After the dinner, Naruto was sitting at the table as Tazuna happily reported his progress. "The bridge will soon be complete. Though I have to ask, why did you guys stick around even after I lied about the mission?" Kakashi folded his hands as he thought about the answer. Not doing right when you know it is right is the coward's way. Those are the teachings of our previous Hokage. That is the way of the shinobi. We don't work just for money. Inari, who was looking down at his plate, looked at Naruto and immediately wished he hadn't. Naruto had his arms folded across his chest, eyes facing the ceiling and a small smile on his face. He looked completely carefree, as if he had no worries. Flashbacks of his father triggered inside his mind. Kaiza saving him, protecting him, making him happy. However, those thoughts only brought pain now. Something snapped inside him at that moment. Slamming his hands on the table, he stood up on his chair. It was enough to bring all the attention in the room towards him. But didn't care, he had had enough of Naruto's carefree/indifferent and bored attitude. Why are you trying so hard when you will only fail? You can't beat Gado's men even if you keep training. No matter how hard you try, weak people always lose to the strong ones. Though it addressed all the ninjas in the room, somehow, everyone felt that Inari was only shouting at Naruto. Naruto leaned on the table, chin on his hands and expression vaguely confused. It seems you are confusing us with the weak people kid, he said, his confusion from earlier gone. However, Inari was on a roll. Shut up. It pisses me off when I watch you. You're always fooling around and having fun. You don't know a thing about suffering or how hard life is for people like us. You'll only end up getting killed. Tears were streaming by the end of his shouting. Kakashi had tensed up during Inari's shouting. To say Naruto doesn't know suffering, it wasn't possible to be more wrong. He expected Naruto to lash out and prepared to defend Inari, but nothing happened. Naruto was sitting there as if nothing had happened. There wasn't a silver of rage on his face. However, inside his mind, a storm was raging. His emotions were going wild. But he had to control them, push them towards a temporary goal. This kid needs a reality check. Keeping his voice even, he spoke, "You know, you're exactly right." Kakashi looked at Naruto with surprise. That was the last thing he expected Naruto to say. The strong will always defend the weak. Gato, and by extension his organization, are weak. Nothing but a bunch of cowards who pick on people who can't out up a fight. They can only win against those who don't have the will to fight back. Against us trained shinobis, they are nothing. A dangerous look crossed his face, a look that even Sasuke and Kakashi got terrified of a bit. We aren't weak. Don't lump us in the same category as you. He scoffed disgustedly and turned his head away. We're nothing alike. Inari cried harder as he glared even more heatedly at Naruto. I'm glad we're not alike. I'd hate to be like you. You don't even have a care in the world. You don't know how hard life can be. The tension in the room was thick as everyone stared at Naruto, who for the first time in his ninja career, felt truly angry. His azure blues were as cold as the coldest ice, anger swimming inside them. Though he held back from channeling killing intent, his eyes were just as effective. The rage in his eyes was enough to put fear inside Inari, whose legs lost strength and was forced to sit down. Look at yourself, bitching and moaning about life. Thinking you have it hard, his voice was a whisper, yet it was so thick of rage that terrified his team. While Kakashi felt his rage was justified, Tazuna and Tsunami were wide-eyed. They had no idea such a sweet boy as Naruto held so much rage inside him. Naruto straightened up in his seat. His mind went back to the children he had seen on the way to the bridge. The ones who he had no doubt were orphans. You sit here, with a loving family, with a mother that cooks for you, worries for you and loves you. A grandfather that is building a bridge so this country can be free of Gado's reign. Naruto looked upon Inari with clear disgust. Some hard life you have. Sakura finally had enough of Naruto berating Inari. She felt that Naruto was being unnecessarily harsh on the boy. Naruto. That's too far. That was all she had gotten out before Naruto pinned a fierce glare on her, enforced with killing intent. Shut up. Sakura was not so terrified of the killing intent as much as she was of the smoldering rage in his voice. She fell back like a bag of potatoes. Naruto turned his gaze back on Inari. I'm willing to bet that you've never stepped a foot outside this house. Never seen the town, where children younger than you have lost their parents, both of them. He finally raised his voice, and felt a dark satisfaction in seeing everyone flinch, even Sasuke. I'm glad I'm nothing like you. I actually decided to do something with my life instead of becoming a crybaby, sitting in a place and whining how hard life is. News flash, there are people out there who have it far worse than you do. You are nothing but a coward who refuses to do something right. Even though his words were fueled with rage, his actions were anything but rough. He gently pushed his chair away and headed to the door. Kakashi asked him, Naruto, where are you going? Naruto did not look back as he replied, to burn off some of this anger. The door closed gently behind him. Everyone wondered what caused Naruto to have such a strong reaction to Inari's words. Inari sniffled before he too ran out of the door. That was a disaster, though not entirely unexpected, Kakashi thought, putting his book aside for the moment. He followed Inari out to the back, where the boy was watching the ocean. Do you mind if I join you? Asked Kakashi, startling Inari. XXXXXXX. Kakashi sat beside Inari, both looking out at the ocean. Naruto didn't say any of that out of spite. He's just a bit stubborn is all, Kakashi gently said. While what Naruto had said was the cold, bitter truth, the weight of those words was not something an 8-year-old can handle. Naruto was different, he had been handling such weight ever since he learned to walk on his feet. Naruto is just like you in the regard that he has no father. That was a lie. Kakashi knew that Naruto knew who his father was, but Naruto had no memories of him. In fact, Naruto has no memories of his parents at all. They were taken away from him at his birth, so he doesn't understand what parents are. He also had no friends, he explained. Inari's head lifted up to face Kakashi, confusion in his eyes. Kakashi continued, however, there wasn't a single moment when I saw him cry or get sulky. That was true. Naruto, until now, had faced the difficulties of life head-on and won, becoming stronger after defeating each challenge. He is desperate to make people recognize him, Kakashi said. Even now, when Naruto had a bored/indifferent expression on almost all the time, Kakashi could see it in his eyes. The hope that someone will recognize him for who he is was naked for all the world to see. Unfortunately for Naruto, the world acted ignorant. Kakashi chuckled softly, he got bored of crying at the world a long time ago. Inari looked down, beginning to understand what Kakashi was trying to say. Naruto was not born strong, he chose to get strong so he could live his life in a better way. Naruto knows where true strength comes from, just like your father. In fact, Naruto might be someone who understands you the most, Kakashi said. Inari was slowly understanding that Naruto might be the only one who was most similar to Inari. Kakashi, I smiled, the words that he said to you earlier, he's probably told himself that over and over again. Naruto flashed to his training spot, fists tightly clenched. He felt a little bit of guilt creep over him for shouting at such a young kid, but that feeling was easily overshadowed by the rage he was feeling. The nerve of that brat. I don't know any suffering. He won't last a day living my life, he raged inside his mind. Kurama kept quiet, but was concerned for his host. He decided to let Naruto burn his anger off by himself, instead of talking it out of him. Making a half-ram sign, causing 100 shadow clones to appear. He was about to charge in head first and eliminate them in the most brutal ways he could think of, but visibly forced himself to think logically. This could be an opportunity for training. It slipped his mind completely that he would be too exhausted to go the bridge tomorrow. He dispelled half of the clones, causing the other half to look at him in confusion. We will try to reduce the number of hand seals in Suiton, Daibakufu no Jutsu from 18 to 10 for now. He could reduce them further when he was back in Konoha. The clones nodded as one and Flash stepped to the nearest water body, eager on getting it done by tonight. As he Flash stepped after them, he frowned and thought, I really should learn the body flicker technique. Flash step is good and all, but it is for short distance purposes, not to mention I can quickly travel long distances, much faster than Shunpa. Also, the body flicker is good for traveling quickly where I haven't marked. As he saw the clones working, he considered another idea. I wonder if the Nidaime has a scroll written on how to draw water from nothing. It would be incredibly useful in Suiton Jutsus and survival as well. The whole night Naruto worked on reducing the hand seals of the Suiton Jutsu. He was able to bring it down to 10, but it left him incredibly exhausted. He was barely able to drag himself back to Tazuna's house, and as soon as he was in front of his futon, he fell face first, asleep before even hitting the mattress. That is how Kakashi found him when he woke up. He woke Sasuke up, who looked at Kakashi, who was motioning him to be quiet, pointing at Naruto. Sasuke understood and they both quietly got ready. Heading downstairs, they found Sakura eating breakfast on the table. Her eyes held confusion when she saw a member missing. Sensei? Sasuke-kun? Where is Naruto? Sasuke spoke up before Kakashi could, that idiot trained so hard that he's knocked out. He won't be coming with us today. Kakashi nodded in agreement. They quickly had their breakfast and stood up, ready to leave. As they went outside, Kakashi turned to Tsunami, please take care of Naruto. He's exhausted himself after training and won't be coming with us today. Tsunami frowned in concern, are you feeling well enough, Kakashi-san? Kakashi rubbed the back of his head and chuckled, yeah, I'm good. Tazuna nodded, well then, let's be off. They walked away after that. XXXXXXX. Zabuza and Haku gazed at the workers on the bridge from their boat. Now is the time to attack, he murmured as he drew his blade. Naruto's eyes snapped open and immediately closed due to the brightness in the room. Groaning, he got up and slowly opened his eyes, letting them adjust. Damn, I trained too much last night, he thought. He checked his chakra reserves and winced slightly. They were a little less than half. Guess I did push myself too much last night, he thought. Oh, you think? Kurama's voice oozed sarcasm. Naruto winced again, sorry Kurama. But I was a bit angry last night, he defended himself. Kurama snorted, a bit? Brat, you scared the hell out of everyone. A bit is an understatement. I'm proud of you. Naruto shrugged and got up, noticing for the first time that the bed around him were empty. Eyes narrowing, he deduced that Kakashi must have decided to let him recover today rather than come with them. He quickly completed his morning rituals and dressed up. Tying his hair into a neat ponytail, he ran downstairs to the dining room, where Tsunami was washing the dishes. She turned to him and smiled, ah, Naruto-kun. If you are wondering where everyone is, your sensei said to let you rest today. Naruto nodded. He figured as much, however, he could feel somehow that today would be different and as such, he needed to get to the bridge. Reaching into his left hip pouch, he pulled out a small black pill. I've got no choice but to eat this, he thought as he put the food pill in his mouth. It would allow me to fight 3 days straight without rest, but I would be left totally exhausted at the end of that, he grimaced at the taste. It tastes like shit, though. Not even 10 seconds after he had swallowed it, he felt his chakra getting replenished to the maximum. Hell, he even felt it expand a bit. His hunger disappeared, making him smirk. Time to go, he thought, his smirk getting replaced with his neutral scowl. Itakemesu, he called out as he departed. He had managed to master another level of his resistance seal in 1 week of training, increasing his raw speed even more. He tree-hopped normally, choosing to conserve his energy for the battle he somehow knew will happen. As he crossed a clearing, his eyes landed on something, making him stop. That's interesting. Tsunami was cleaning up the kitchen when she heard the sound of the door breaking. Two men with swords came inside and one of them grinned, "Daughter of bridge builder Tazuna, you are coming with us." Inari heard the noise and saw his mother going with the men. He felt afraid, however, he forced himself to remain strong. "I will save my Ka-san." Flashes of how Naruto called him weak fueled his courage. Naruto arrived back at the house just in time to see two wannabe samurai rushing at Inari, swords drawn. Wasting no time, he immediately released his seals and Flash stepped to Inari, quickly grabbing the mother-son duo and Flash stepping back just in time too. The sword sliced at the space where he was a moment ago. The thugs were dumbfounded. What just happened? Only then they noticed that Tsunami was gone. They turned around and saw a blonde kid in dark blue clothes, holding Tsunami and Inari a safe distance away. The presence of a Hitayate beneath his left shoulder confirmed the fact he was a ninja. Naruto settled Tsunami down, cut her ropes. "Tsunami-san, please stay behind me." "Inari, good job on keeping them here," he smiled. Inari brightened up at the compliment. Turning to face the thugs, he adopted the expression when he was dealing with thugs who had no brains. An indifferent expression to convey that he didn't feel threatened at all. It served as an excellent way to piss them off. Every time. Sogato sent Dumb and Dumber to kidnap a woman. I'm not surprised at all. He kept his tone light enough so they would lose their cool. The one wearing the hat scowled and said, "You are just an incompetent ninja that Tazuna hired, aren't you?" Naruto pretended to inspect his nails. "Incompetent? I don't know about that. I literally snatched Tsunami-san from you and you didn't even notice." The one with the eye patch scoffed angrily and said, "Let's see how you stop us." With that, both of them prepared to rush at Naruto, intent on slicing him into pieces. Naruto decided some mind games were in order. Snorting, he pointed his finger towards them. "If anything, you are the ones incompetent. You failed to notice the two clones standing behind you." As he predicted, the two stupidly turned their backs towards him to inspect behind them. Finding no one, their eyes widened. "He tricked us." But it was already too late. Naruto Flash stepped in between them and delivered a flawlessly executed split kick to their heads, easily knocking them unconscious and sending them on the opposite sides of the aisle and down the river. He doubted they would survive. He suddenly realized that he just performed his first kill. He had just ended another being's life. However, instead of puking his guts out like he thought, he only felt empty. He waited for some terrible feeling that one got after their first kill, but nothing came. And somehow, it made him feel even worse. Tsunami and Inari watched with growing horror as both men went flowing down the river. They turned to watch Naruto, who only had a blank expression on his face. Concern grew in Tsunami and she reached up to touch his shoulder. "Naruto-kun." Naruto snapped out of his trance and looked at her. Regaining his senses, he gave a serious look to Tsunami. "Tsunami-san, I must get going now." Putting two fingers onto the ground, he easily sensed his team's chakra and two other signatures, one of them very familiar and the other distinctly familiar. "Zabuza has already arrived on the bridge," he declared, ignoring Tsunami gasp. He had to get there quickly. Turning to Tsunami, he said, "Go inside the house and lock every door and window. Make sure no one can get inside," he warned her. The mother nodded and immediately went back inside the house. Naruto turned his gaze in the direction of the bridge. It was good that he had put his Hiraishin formula at one end of the bridge. He was gone in a blue flash. XXXXXXX. Things had escalated on the bridge as soon as the team and Tazuna got there. They had got there to see all the workers bleeding. "What's this?" Tazuna exclaimed, rushing up to one of them, the only one who seemed to be awake. What happened? A monster, the worker muttered, gritting his teeth in pain, just as a thick mist rolled in. Here they come, Kakashi said as Tazuna backed up, and the ninja took up a defensive formation around him. Long time no see, Kakashi, came Zabuza's voice through the mist. I see you're still with those brats. He's shaking again, poor kid. Where's the blonde one though? He was at least decent than the wimps you have with you now, he taunted. Sasuke grit his teeth at that. Even when Naruto wasn't here, the enemy still acknowledged him. Kakashi felt a surge of pride at Zabuza's taunt. Naruto was already making waves if a missing Nin was acknowledging him. He replied back, sorry, but he's on a separate assignment. You get to deal with us today. There was no need to mention that the assignment was to sleep. A group of Zabuza's clones surrounded them. Sasuke gave a small grin and put up a brave face, I'm just excited to see you again. Kakashi ordered, do it, Sasuke. Sasuke disappeared in a sudden burst of speed and mere moments later, all the Zabuza clones splashed into water. Hm. He saw through the water clones, came Zabuza's voice as the mist cleared slightly to show Zabuza and that fake hunter Nin standing on the bridge. It looks like a rival has appeared, Haku? Indeed it does, the hunter Nin, Haku, said with a nod. But I still stand by my point. The blonde one was way faster than what I just saw, Zabuza said. Haku then started spinning incredibly fast, moving towards them. Sasuke tensed up and met him in between, his kunai clashing against Haku's Senbon. I don't want to have to kill you, but you won't stand down, will you? Haku asked, which made Sasuke scoff. Don't be foolish. I see. But you won't be able to keep up with my speed the next time. Plus, I've already gained 2 advantages. 2 advantages? Sasuke repeated. The first is the water on the ground. And the second is that I have occupied one of your arms. You will now only be able to run from my attacks. Sasuke's eyes widened along with Kakashi's when Haku started forming seals with only one hand, ending in a half-ram seal again. The water around them suddenly rose into the air and formed needles, which all flew straight toward Sasuke. Haku leapt away just in time, but it seemed Sasuke got caught in the barrage. Haku got his answer when he saw Sasuke had jumped up and was throwing shuriken at him. Haku neatly backflipped to avoid them, but when he looked up again, Sasuke was gone. You're pretty slow, came his voice from behind him. Now you can only receive and block my attacks. Sasuke slashed at Haku, who blocked with his hand. He almost missed the kunai in Sasuke's other hand and ducked low, right in path of Sasuke's kick, which connected to his mask. Zabuza couldn't believe it. Haku lost in speed? Sasuke couldn't help himself, looks like my speed is better than yours. However, Zabuza quickly recovered and said, at this rate, you will be defeated Haku. You know that, right? Haku got up and formed a strange hand seal, yes. We can't have that now, can we? All of a sudden, the air seemed to get cold. Hijitsu, Makyu Hyushu. Secret technique, demonic ice mirrors. The water on the ground around Sasuke suddenly rose up to form plates of water, which froze and took on an appearance akin to that of a mirror. The mirrors rose up and formed a dome around Sasuke, who looked nervous for the first time in the fight. Haku moved towards one of them and seemingly stepped into it. He appeared in one mirror, but as Sasuke moved to smash it, Haku appeared in every single one of the mirrors surrounding him. Well then, shall we begin? Haku asked. I'll show you my real speed. One Senbon attack came, then another, and another, all of them too fast for Sasuke to avoid. Screams of pain tore from his throat. Sasuke. Kakashi moved forward to help his student, but Zabuza blocked his way. I'm your opponent, remember? Your student's a goner, now that Haku has him trapped inside. Sasuke attempted a great fireball, but it was utterly useless. There wasn't even a scratch on the mirror. His screams continued. Sakura couldn't take the screams anymore, and with a shout of "Sasuke-kun," moved to help him, completely abandoning Tazuna and leaving him unprotected. She threw a kunai to him, but Haku came halfway out of a mirror and caught it with ease. "I don't think so," he said. Sakura paled. "He caught it?" "Well, that's what happens when you fail to put the enemy in your equation." Everyone turned towards the voice coming from the side of the mirrors. However, Haku was too slow to react. A knee caught him in the chin, easily sending him out of the mirrors. Naruto landed in a crouch, all ready for battle. Sasuke opened an eye and saw Naruto just outside the dome. "Show off," was all he could get out before trying to get some air in his lungs from all the screaming. Standing up, he assessed the situation. Kakashi was about to engage Zabuza, the fake hunter Nin was out of his dome and Sakura had just suffered one of her stupidity bouts. Oh, and Sasuke was trapped. "I can work with this." Zabuza was paying attention to how Naruto was assessing them. "It's that blonde again." He was fast enough to catch Haku off guard, and it looked like he wasn't even trying. Eyes narrowing, he turned his attention back to Kakashi. Haku recognized the boy. "It's him, from the forest." Apparently the wait got boring for Zabuza, who threw 4 shuriken at Naruto. Naruto's danger sense activated and he saw them coming in slow motion. Preparing to flip out of the way, he was shocked when 4 Senbon collided with the shuriken. Everyone had the same thought on their mind. Why did he save Naruto? "Zabuza-sama, please let me deal with this," Haku requested. Kakashi found himself in a tight spot. Sakura couldn't move from her spot, and if Kakashi moved to help Sasuke, he would leave Tazuna open to Zabuza. Naruto critically assessed Haku. "I assume you are the one who put this dome up. You have an ice bloodline limit, don't you?" Haku stiffened, as did Zabuza and Kakashi. "Your brat's smart, Kakashi," Zabuza said to Kakashi, who only narrowed his eye. Haku spoke, "You are quite perceptive, Naruto-kun. However, you can't help your friend in any way." Sasuke chose this moment to throw a kunai at Haku, who simply tilted his head out of the way. "I didn't forget about you." Sasuke grit his teeth. This was getting bad, very fast. Haku turned to Sasuke. "I would have liked for you to just lie there quietly, but I guess I can't expect that." "Very well, I will finish dash." That was all he got out before his face met with Naruto's shoe again. He was thrown back almost 7 feet by Naruto, who was looking at him like he was an idiot. Who turns their face away from an opponent to talk, you idiot? However, Haku was not the only one shocked. Sasuke, Sakura, Kakashi and Zabuza were thinking along a similar wavelength. "He was fast enough to catch me off guard the same way, a second time. Since when was Naruto so fast? That dope, I didn't even see him move. Well done Naruto. Keep him busy. Things are getting interesting, now that Sasuke brat might actually have a chance of making out alive." Haku wasted no more time. Merging back into the mirror, Sasuke had to hold back a groan at what he was about to go through. He was unprepared, however, for Naruto to suddenly appear before him. Naruto already had a vague idea of what was about to happen and so, he summoned 4 shadow clones. Taking up a pentagonal position around Sasuke, all 5 Narutos mentally called out while making the tiger seal. Suiton, Suijin Hiki. Water style, water wall, a wall of water rose before each of the clones from the water beneath their feet, who manipulated it to cover their heads as well. "Sasuke," Naruto called out in a low voice. Sasuke turned to look at him and saw him keep the tiger hand seal up. "This is only a temporary solution. Whatever he's gonna throw at us dash. Senbon." Naruto rose his eyebrows. Okay, Senbon it is. They will pass through anyway then. I want you to be on guard in case he comes out of the mirrors. As Naruto predicted, Senbon came at them from all the directions. Naruto and his clones made their wall as thick as possible. Senbon still passed through, but it was clear that they were not doing as much damage as before. They weren't even dispelling the clones. Haku didn't know that Naruto had enforced them with chakra. I have to destroy those clones, he thought. It was only for a fleeting moment, but Naruto and his clones caught it. It all happened in slow motion. Haku splashed through the wall and swung around a Senbon, but Naruto's clones were busy maintaining the wall, so they weren't able to react in time and got dispelled. Naruto himself dodged the Senbon with a hair's breadth. As soon as the wall was down, Haku flashed back into the mirror. Your defense is meager. You cannot hope to win against me. However, Naruto had come up with a way to distract Haku. Interesting technique, this is. Moves partially into spacetime, if I'm not wrong. You can move from mirror to mirror with enhanced speed. Since time is relative to speed, everything must move in slow motion for you, he smirked, hoping to throw Haku off. Sasuke gaped at the blonde. How the hell did he figure that out? Naruto had his own thoughts going. He has been maintaining these mirrors for quite a while now. His chakra reserves have to have depleted by now. Time to check. Making a snake seal, he took a deep breath. Futon, Kaze Jairai no Jutsu. Wind style, wind torpedo technique, a ball of wind shot towards the mirrors and exploded with great force upon contact. Naruto was pleased to see the results. There was a crack. A big one. Sasuke's jaw dropped even further. How did it crack? My fireball couldn't even scratch it. Naruto decided to ignore him for the moment. However, Haku reformed the mirror and continued with his assault, this time, aiming at Naruto's vital spots. Naruto smirked and prepared to blow the Senbon away. He summoned 2 clones to guard his back, however, one immediately got dispelled, leaving him open to attack. And since Naruto was in the middle of performing a jutsu, he couldn't make any more clones. Senbon raced towards his unguarded side and he prepared to duck in response to his danger sense. Sasuke saw how confident Naruto was in this situation. How he never showed any fear, instead opting to instill fear into his opponent's mind, hoping to instill doubt. Seeing Naruto smirk, Sasuke had no doubt the blonde had a plan and it would work. However, seeing Senbon racing towards Naruto's unguarded side, something moved in him. He was able to see them in slow motion. He could see everything with crystal clarity, and he knew what to do. He jumped between the Senbon and Naruto, taking the full force of them. Naruto turned around and his eyes widened on seeing Sasuke take the attack. Not dropping his guard, he spoke with clenched teeth. What the hell was that, Sasuke? Why did you do that? Sasuke was losing consciousness fast, so he spoke, I don't know. My body just moved on its own. My brother is still, out there somewhere. Don't die, Naruto. With that, he fell unconscious. Naruto couldn't check if Sasuke was really dead without dropping his guard, so he was forced to assume the worst-case scenario. Sasuke was likely close to death, or was already dead. Unimaginable anger washed over him, making him tremble slightly. Unknown to him, a layer of extremely dense orange chakra began to cover him. Kurama's voice rang out in his head, Naruto. You are drawing on my chakra in your anger. Calm down, or you'll be nothing more than a berserker. Naruto argued back, he killed Sasuke. How do you not expect me to get angry? Kurama snarled, this is not the time to lose your mind, Naruto. I did not train you to be so weak against your emotions. Control them, flow with them in such a way that they become your weapon against your enemy. The anger in Kurama's voice snapped him out of his anger. Only then he noticed that Haku was still throwing senbon at him, but an orange cloak prevented them from making contact with his skin. Kurama's chakra, he realized. XXXXXXX. Zabuza and Kakashi both halted at the feeling of the strange chakra. What is that chakra? It's too strong to be Kakashi, Zabuza thought, perplexed at the new presence. However, Kakashi perfectly recognized the chakra. This is bad. I need to end this fast in case the seal has loosened. Turning to Zabuza, he spoke, we're both busy men, Zabuza. How about we use one last move, winner take all, you know? Zabuza grinned under his bandages, sounds interesting. The faster I kill you, the faster I get paid. XXXXXXX. Naruto shook his head and refocused on Haku, who was still throwing his senbon. Immediately, a new plan began to form in his mind. Kurama's slowly drawing his chakra back into the seal, which means I won't be protected for long. That Hunter Nin is insanely fast, but not that fast that it can't be tracked by me if my danger sense remains activated, or Sasuke's Sharingan, which, if I'm not mistaken, allowed him to see the path of the senbon and jump to protect me. There's no time for exploding tags as well. I have to time it perfectly. If I'm late for even a single moment, he will see through my plan. Naruto finished planning and put it in motion. He took out a kunai, put his Hiraishin formula on it and threw it on the ground, at the base of one of the mirrors. He repeated this until the kunai were in a hexagonal pattern. Then he flashed. Haku was honestly perplexed at what Naruto was trying to do. Those kunai, even if they were wrapped with an explosive tag, would not damage his mirrors. But he would have to finish this quickly, his chakra was starting to get dangerously low. He doubled his attacks on Naruto, who seemed to be waiting for the attacks to hit him. At the last moment, he seemingly disappeared. Haku's eyes widened as he saw that Naruto was now at a position opposite to his previous position. The scary part was, Haku didn't even see him move. A blue flash was all he saw. Recovering, he attacked Naruto at his new position, who flashed away again. This continued for a few more times before Haku decided to end it. His chakra was almost exhausted, so he would have to step out and attack Naruto's back as fast as he could. Naruto was flashing and dodging the senbon with ease due to the slow perception given to him by his danger sense coupled with the speed of Hiraishin. He was playing the waiting game. He knew Haku was close to getting exhausted and he would attack Naruto's back because he no longer had the chakra for a direct confrontation with Naruto, who had yet to feel a drain on his reserves. Sure enough, his danger sense alerted him that the Hunter Nin was exiting a mirror from behind him, attacking his back. This was what he was waiting for. He immediately flashed away to another kunai to his side, watching with satisfaction how the Hunter Nin missed him, toppling forward. That was the moment he struck. Naruto's chakra was incredibly dense, so it augmented his physical traits greatly. He was faster, stronger, agile than majority people of his age. So when Naruto directed his chakra and condensed it into his fist, the force was something that would have sent someone of his size flying a dozen meters away. His fist made perfect contact with the Hunter Nin's cheek. Coupled with the momentum of his flash step, Naruto slammed Haku into the mirror, breaking it like it was nothing more than a hard sheet of paper. Haku was sent flying back from the force of the fist, all his mirrors shattered. He could not believe Naruto was this strong. To have a way to avoid his senbon within the dome, chakra dense enough to crack his mirrors. He was pretty sure his jaw was cracked, although it would have been broken if not for his mask, which was now shattered. It was a miracle he wasn't knocked out. Naruto looked with shock at the Hunter Nin who was now revealed to be Haku. He couldn't help but feel hurt at how a person who he thought understood what Naruto stood for so perfectly would hurt his comrade. Haku gazed at Naruto with a blank expression, "Why won't you kill me, when I've killed your friend?" Naruto turned to look at Sasuke, who resembled more a pin cushion than a human. A brief surge of anger hit him, causing him to punch Haku straight in the gut. The force behind the hit knocked Haku down to his knees, but he knew Naruto had held back. Fighting the pain, he spoke, was he not an important person to you? Naruto thought back to his meeting with Haku in the forest, where Haku had told him how had an important person, and how he would protect him. Zabuza's your important person, isn't he? He asked softly. Though he already knew the answer. Haku nodded in agreement. He then proceeded to tell him how he had important people other than Zabuza a long time ago. How his father tried to kill his mother, how he tried to kill Haku because of his bloodline. Haku had killed his own father in defense. He had suffered through the most terrible feeling there was, the feeling that no one wanted you. Then Zabuza found him, raised him. Haku felt like he was Zabuza's most trusted tool. Please kill me. XXXXXXX. Zabuza had Kakashi where he wanted him. Kakashi had no way of knowing where Zabuza was, but Zabuza was aware of everything that Kakashi was doing. Or so he thought. Kakashi apparently had another trick up his sleeve. He summoned his Ninken had tracked Zabuza through the mist. The dogs had trapped Zabuza in his place, allowing Kakashi the time to execute his one original move, the lightning cutter. Raikiri. He held electricity in his hands, causing Zabuza's eyes to widen at the sheer amount of chakra Kakashi was exuding. That thing can cut through anything. Kakashi ran at Zabuza, intent on finishing this once and for all. Naruto found this so wrong, he just wanted to leave Haku alone. But it was evident, the pain that Haku carried. Zabuza was most like dead now, which meant Haku had no one left in the world. Again. Just kill him, Naruto, if only to spare him the pain, Kurama's voice came through. Naruto gripped his kunai so tightly that his knuckle had turned white. Nevertheless, he prepared himself. He channeled pure, wind chakra through his kunai, causing it to resemble a blue dagger. May you find peace in your death, Haku, he thought as he flash-stepped to Haku, his kunai going for his heart. However, there is a saying that you always know when the people important to you are in danger. Perhaps that was the reason that Haku was able to grab Naruto's arm in mid-swing. Naruto was more than shocked, he was stupefied. How the hell did Haku grab his arm? It was then he paid attention to his senses. Kakashi's chakra had taken the form of pure electricity. Wait, if Kakashi-sensei is still using jutsu, then that means Zabuza is still alive. As is to confirm his thoughts, Haku spoke, sorry Naruto-kun, but I can't die just yet. Making some one-handed seals, he disappeared in a shunshin. Damn it! Naruto cursed before he too, flash-stepped to Kakashi's location, just in time to see Haku getting impaled by Kakashi, whose handed was coated in electricity. Zabuza took this opportunity to swing his blade at Kakashi, who jumped back. Closing Haku's eyes, he proceeded to brutally disable Zabuza's arms by piercing them with kunai. Well, it seems the demon of the mist is nothing more than a failure. All of them turned to face the owner of the voice, who was revealed to be a rather short man. Sorry Zabuza, but you die here. You see, hiring official ninjas costs a lot of money, so I hired a missing ninja like you. If you ninja had killed each other, it would have saved me the trouble and the money. A nasty smirk crossed Gato's face. If you ask me, you're nothing more than a cute devil. Sorry for the skip, but everything after this is the same until Zabuza collapses. One of the thugs called them out, hey, don't think you bastards are off the hook. You just killed our only source of revenue. Now we will have to attack the town and steal all the valuables. The other thugs roared their agreement. Naruto turned to Kakashi, Sensei, do you have any way to take care of them all? Kakashi shook his head, an angry sigh escaping his lips, no. I used up too much of my chakra. Naruto grit his teeth. I could end this in mere moments, but I risk exposing the flying thunder god, damn it. He took a glance toward Sakura and Tazuna. Sakura had her head buried in Sasuke's chest and was sobbing her heart out. Just seeing Sasuke's body lying there unmoving caused his anger to resurface. Gritting his teeth, he turned to Kakashi. Kakashi-sensei, I want you to go back. Kakashi stared at Naruto, trying to figure what his student was up to. Tazuna-san is going to see it anyway, but please tell him not to mention it in front of our team. And prevent Sakura from gazing ahead. Block her view if you have to, he said with utmost seriousness. Kakashi's eyes widened. Naruto, don't tell me, you are going to use dash. Yes, Naruto cut him off sharply. Now back off, he almost commanded him. Kakashi though, only nodded and backed away, intent on following Naruto's instructions. If Naruto didn't want his team to know of his ace in the hole just yet, he would respect that. But Tazuna needed to be warned to keep quiet. After Kakashi backed away, Naruto faced the thugs, a serious look on his face. One of the thugs laughed, "Oh, you think you can stop us alone, brat?" Another one spoke up, "Hell, at this point, even just one of us would be able to take you out." The thugs laughed at that. Heart pounding, he tried to not let his nervousness show. He was about to end the lives of almost 100 people, just go with it please. Steeling himself, he took out a kunai and put his formula onto it. The thugs noticed it and laughed even harder. "Brat, you can't even take one of us down with that." However, Naruto ignored that and threw the kunai. Ninpo, kunai kage bunshin no jutsu. The one kunai became hundreds and were scattered on the ground between Naruto and the thugs. The one standing on the front snorted, "Looks like you missed, kid." They charged with a roar after that, each one having some weapon with them. Naruto took two of his kunai in his hand and channeled wind chakra, making them look like a blue dagger. He took a stance and a deep breath and waited for all the thugs to enter the area of the marked kunai. When they did, he unknowingly said the phrase his father was feared for, "I'll end this in a flash." What followed was a total massacre. Kakashi's eyes were blown wide after hearing Naruto speak. He only saw blue flashes, too fast for his Sharingan to keep track of. Naruto went into a trance as he flashed again and again through the thugs like a hot knife through butter. He wasn't even thinking, his body was moving by instinct alone as all the thugs were taken down in less than 5 seconds. He was going so fast that not even the droplets of blood were fast enough to land on him. Kakashi didn't know what to think or feel as he saw his student accomplish a feat that no one but his sensei could do. On one hand, he felt like his chest was going to burst with how much proud the man was of his student. On the other hand, he felt somber that Naruto already had so many deaths on his hands. So he settled for middle ground, he just relaxed as much as he could, knowing it was all over. He then turned to Tazuna to relay Naruto's words. Naruto stood in the middle of it all, not even covered by blood. He was in a haze. So many people died by his hand in just one day alone. Even though his chakra reserves were only depleted by a quarter, he felt more exhausted than ever. His legs lost the strength to remain standing and he sank to his feet, a blank expression on his face. He didn't know what to feel except so much guilt. Tazuna saw Naruto standing in front of all the thugs, no sign of fear on his face. But fear had gripped his heart, he almost expected Naruto to get killed and almost shouted at the boy to come back, but before he could do that, Naruto disappeared in a blue flash. Tazuna witnessed with growing horror how Naruto annihilate all the thugs with seemingly no effort. In just 5 seconds, all of Gato's thugs were dead, blood spilling from various places on their bodies. He almost didn't hear Kakashi call his name. "Tazuna-san," Kakashi called out to the shell-shocked man. Tazuna turned his head to face Kakashi, who spoke in a low whisper, "Please listen to me. You must keep quiet about what you saw. No one, is to know that Naruto killed them all." Kakashi struggled for the right word. He looked down to see Sakura still sobbing over Sasuke. For once, Kakashi was glad for Sakura's obsession with Sasuke. He continued speaking, "Not even Sakura is to know." He saw Tazuna about to protest, so he glared at him, hard. He kept glaring at the man until he agreed. He then turned around and slowly walked, weaving his feet between the bodies until he reached Naruto. He knelt down beside the boy, who now had silent tears streaming down his face, finally realizing the weight of what he just did. Kakashi put his hand on Naruto's shoulder and spoke in a soft voice, "It's okay, Naruto. It's okay to feel like what you are feeling right now after what you just did. I am surprised though, that you didn't puke your guts out, but I would be more shocked to see no remorse on your face. Want to talk about it?" Naruto turned his teary eyes to Kakashi, "I feel so guilty. I am trying to convince myself that I did it to keep Tazuna and his family safe. That they would have killed us in an instant and won't think twice about it. I feel like a monster." Naruto was full on sobbing by now, sinking until he was sitting between his legs. Kakashi nodded, "The first time is never easy. Everyone thinks the same thing after their first kill, that they are too cruel to have taken another's life. But as long as you're capable of feeling remorse for your actions, you haven't lost your humanity. We are shinobi, and on missions we have to kill to protect those who can't protect themselves." Kakashi put his fingers on Naruto's chin and gently made him face him, "But taking the life of a criminal who would kill innocent people without a second thought is not murder. Think of it like this, if we don't do our job right now, the next ones dying won't be the criminals, but their victims." Naruto's guilt had somewhat subsided after Kakashi's consoling. Kurama too, had whispered some words of comfort, but coming from a demon, they were more along the likes of "you did good, they deserved it" and whatnot. He wiped his tears off and stood up with the help of Kakashi. A gasp from Sakura caught their attention. Both of them turned around and both of them choked on seeing Sasuke sitting up. He was in pain, judging from his face, but nonetheless, alive. Naruto gave a small smile at that, a majority of his guilt lessened at the fact that Sasuke's death wasn't on his hands. Kakashi gave a big sigh of relief, "Thank God, he's alive." Sasuke opened his eyes with much difficulty and saw a mop of pink hair on his chest. He groaned, "Get off, Sakura. It hurts." Sakura gasped and sat up, relieved, tears flowing, "Sasuke-kun, you're alive." Sasuke sat up with Tazuna and Sakura's help and his eyes widened when he saw the amount of bodies on the bridge, with Naruto and Kakashi standing in the middle of it. His eyes widened, "What happened?" Naruto and Kakashi were holding their breath, nervous because they didn't know how much Sasuke had seen or heard. However, when Sasuke asked what happened, Naruto practically melted in relief. Naruto smoothly told a lie, "Well, Zabuza really lived up to his title of the Demon of the Mist. It was a slaughter, man." Sasuke narrowed his eyes, suspecting Naruto was lying. However, when Kakashi supported his claim, Sasuke let the suspicion leave. The sound of rapid footsteps caught their attention. Turning around, Kakashi and Naruto saw the citizens of Wave. Inari quickly ran up to Naruto, "Ni-san. What happened here? Is everyone alright? Are you alright?" Chuckling tiredly, Naruto fondly riffled Inari's hair. "Everyone is alright, Inari. Though I do need to lie down a bit." Inari then saw the scene of slaughter for the first time. His eyes widened and he turned to Naruto, "What happened to all of them?" Thankfully Kakashi saved Naruto from answering, "They were all killed by Zabuza. You should be thankful to him." Inari got confused, "But isn't that the guy who was trying to kill Gigi?" Naruto took a deep breath and let it out, "A story for another time, Inari. Right now, we need to rest. All of us do."